All right, welcome everyone who's attending in person, everyone who's attending on the Zoom link, and everyone watching this after the meeting. I know this meeting time is a bit difficult. We are just going to hop right in. I've got a bunch of info to share, and then we have a debate resolution that we're going to talk about briefly. So agenda for today, and why are we holding a second info session? We held one earlier in the spring. I've got some cool stuff to announce, but I've also got some changes to the team to announce that deserve a new info session. So today I'm going to go over some team history and what we've been doing and some cool stuff that's happened this semester, but also some stuff that isn't really working that we're changing. And then I'll explain what we're changing to, why, and what exactly that means. And then if we have time, which we definitely will, we're going to be debating briefly the resolution. Debate should be more concerned with education than collegiate competition and the production of policy. Okay, so what we've been doing. We have four sub-teams as of last week, and since spring 2021, the system was formalized. Each of these has a history. Debate team started, this team was founded in early 2000s, actually around 1999, to compete in policy debate. We haven't actually competed in policy debate since around when Sean and Ricardo were at Tech, around 2016, 2011. We taught policy theory in fall 2021, but we didn't compete in it. We've done the ACC championship for a while, which is kind of pseudo policy. We did it in 2018 and we did it in 2021. We tried to get some people to do CPFL, which is policy adjacent at least. And we have Parley team, which used to do a lot of NPDA around 2015. We won the 2010, 2011 state championships. We hosted one in early 2010s. We hosted one in the late 2010s. We also hosted one just last weekend, which I'll get to later. But yeah, in 2021, we've done lots of IPDA debate, which continued into 2022 with GPDA. If you've seen any of our announcements, you've known we've done a lot of IPDA tournaments. We've won a decent number of them. We have some really solid entries, and we won the novice bracket in GPDA. Yay, Lauren, you're here. That's cool. We won the novice bracket and we hosted GPDA this year. It was a success. Lots of schools from Georgia, lots of entries. Valdosta took home the traveling trophy, which they took from Mercer University. Mercer's had it for 3 years because there hasn't been a proper state tournament in 2020, and there wasn't one in 2021. We have also recently added Worlds and BP debate, or World/BP debate, and we did a Scheller tournament from the Pacific. It was hosted by Pacific University. It was called the Fred Scheller Invitational, and we won the junior varsity division. Yay! So Parley team is doing a lot of stuff. Speech team, NFA, individual events, pattern A and B, lots of different things. Started in the summer of 2021. It was the first time Tech really did speech, as far as I'm aware. We mainly did impromptu. We added some interp in 2022, and then discourse team has been around since spring 2021. Discussions and speakers, it's non-competitive, it's basically open to anyone. And we've had some success there. What's not working about this? Well, you can see there are two teams here that compete a lot, Parley and speech team. And if you've looked at our competition record since spring 2021, when we were rechartered, it's very strong in IPDA, NFA individual events, and a couple Worlds tournaments here and there, which are kind of a newer thing that are going pretty well right now. And maybe ACC here and there. There's basically no policy, basically no CPFL, and there hasn't been in forever. And there's a very good reason for that, which is that we're a student-run program. We have been for a very long time. And policy is very hard to do as a student-run program. And in fact, the best way to do policy as a student-run program is to do something like NPDA or IPDA or CPFL and use policy theory in an extemporaneous round. It's generally a more advisable way of doing these sorts of things. And in view of that, this is what we're moving to. A much more streamlined, simple concept of we have general body meetings, we have debate meetings, and we have speech meetings. It's much simpler. General body meetings are all info everyone needs to know, disbursement of awards, internal and external. So when our tournament trophy from Fred Scheller arrives, we'll give it here. When our tournament trophies from UNG arrived, we gave them here. We did internal awards through this. We'll continue to do that. If we get an award from GPDA, which will be an award we'll produce for ourselves, we'll distribute it here. Get an award from Vanderbilt, we'll talk about it here. Get an award from, IPDA Nationals or the ACC, we'll do it here. Although the ACC, they'll take them forever to ship that, but it's a ginormous trophy, so I'll show it off at the meeting if we do get it. Yeah, and this whole discourse team concept of having discussions and debates will take place in general body meetings. We have one today on the nature of debate, which will be, a debate. And we have one scheduled for March 31st on sustainable investment, which we're partnering with Sustainable Investment, the student org, to do. All forms of debate, public debate, IPDA, NPDA, World/BP, CPFL, ACC, are coming under the banner of public debate meetings. And that's because there's really not much value in separating policy theory here. And there's also not much value as far as we've been concerned in separating the competitors. They can all learn from each other. And these formats listed here are the ones we're likely to be competing in. Things can be added and it can still come under public debate. We're going to put all debate in one place because all these, as Sean, our alumni advisor, is fond of saying, debate is debate is debate. And Sean and Sahan advise Parley team right now. They don't advise policy team, they just advise Parley team. And they're the ones who know everything about policy. So they are just going to advise debate now. And if you want to do debate, you go to one place to do it. Competitive, intercollegiate debate, you go to public debate team, sub-team meetings. If you don't want to do competitive intercollegiate debate, you can stick with the general body meetings. And if you want to do speech and inter, you can go to the speech and inter sub-team. A much simpler system, I hope. So the scheduling changes are general body meetings. As of March, they are the same. The ones we have in April may move, but the ones in March are still Thursdays, 5 to 6 p.m. April is probably going to move to a different time, but we haven't exactly determined it yet. And as for the content of general body meetings, both March and April is hopefully going to be a lot of Congress-style debates or discussions. As for public debate, intercollegiate competitive debate in all these various different formats, that's still 12:30 p.m. on Sundays, unless there's a tournament that weekend, in which case go to the tournament, please. There is a let us meet on the Discord to move it. If you want it moved, fill that out and contact the captain or the captains. Emma is in charge of IPDA, Vishnesh is in charge of Worlds. If you don't want it moved, just let us know. As for speech and interp, is still at 6 p.m. on Thursdays. Same details as before, IC211. If you want it moved, please tell us on Discord when would work for you. And they're still doing NFA Pattern A and B, Extemp OO, Impromptu. We didn't get to compete at GIFA, but we have a tournament this semester. We've actually identified an asynchronous tournament, which is actually pretty helpful. It's very easy to attend, so we're hopefully going to be doing that. And now speech and interp sub-team is about to have a proper archive of pieces, not even an archive, Anna, can you help me out? What's it called? The software you asked us to buy?
It's called 4in6 Thematics. It has a bunch of different pieces that are already cut for interp. It has topics for, I think Extempt as well, but Impromptu and all that. I think it separates Extempt into domestic and international. I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah, but the point is we have had the allocation approved, and we're going to be spending it soon to buy access to clipped pieces for use in speech. The speech team has a lot of resources now. Speech team is continuing on. Arguably, we're not changing a lot. We're just merging down into to save people confusion and to save people wasted time. So if you want to do competitive intercollegiate debate, go to the public debate sub-team meeting, and you can go if you're a beginner, you can go if you're very advanced. You will be taught a variety of things, including policy theory, but also other approaches. And you'll be able to choose formats that work for you, both partnered and non-partnered, both case prepped and non-case prepped. There's a whole spectrum there. from, the most extemporaneous, which is world's debate, to arguably the least extemporaneous, which is CPFL and ACC, which is a more public forum style. So public debate still happening, speech still happening, arguably discourse still happening. It's all just under a simpler umbrella, and there are objectives. There's a change in objectives. That's the thing. And the only changes in the exec board is we no longer have a policy team captain. That's gone. There's no policy team captain because there's no policy team. Vishnesh and Emma are still public team captains. They were parley team captains before. Now they're public debate team captains. Vishnesh is still in charge of worlds. Emma is still in charge of IPA. Anna is still in charge of speech and intern. It's all actually very similar. We just needed to clarify the change in objectives and announce the potential scheduling changes. Please, everyone, get on the Discord. There are tournaments coming up you'll want to know about. There's events coming up you'll want to know about. There's things happening. You can use this QR code to get on the Discord membership roster. Once you're on the Discord, you'll need to join the membership roster and change your nickname to your name as it appears on the roster to get validated on the roster. Please do this. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the guest area of the Discord and you can't actually see all the tournament discussion from the guest area because we can't let people who aren't verified to be Georgia Tech students look at our communications about tournaments. There's sensitive financial info there. There's also it's basically a squad room. It's people talking about what's going on during the tournament, and sometimes that content is probably not best prevented from being seen by the other competitors from other schools. Okay, that's a summary. That's a brief set of changes. It's done. Sorry if it took too long. I am going to end the recording, then I'm going to take some questions about changes if people have them. But basically, if there was something you were doing before that you liked, you can still do it. It may be at a slightly different time and it may be called a slightly different thing, but it's still going to be there. And if you were someone before who was confused by how things are laid out, hopefully it's simpler now, and hopefully it's much less convoluted. We are just mainly prioritizing the fact that we are a competitive team that engages in intercollegiate competition, but we are still leaving room for people who are not here for intercollegiate competition.